Something just changed that every federal employee needs to know about. Starting September 2nd, 2026, a new OPM rule flips the way agencies decide who stays and who goes in a RIF. Performance now outranks tenure. That means the rules that your colleagues have been quoting for years are already out of date. If a RIF notice is anywhere on your radar, this is worth 10 minutes of your time. We're going to cover what the new rule actually changes, what happens to your FERS pension across three separate and different paths, what to do with your TSP, how FEHB and FEGLI work depending on which road you take, whether VERA or a discontinued service retirement actually serves you better, and we'll close with a concrete checklist you can still start to work through. I'm Severance, and I'm a certified financial planner professional and a fiduciary who work with active and former public sector employees, including government professionals, or business owners, or considering ownership or consulting. Let's get right into it. The new RIF rule and what it actually changes. On September 2nd of 2026, the rule change is real and it matters more than most people realize. Under the old system, if your agency ran a RIF, tenure was the king. The person who had been around the longest had the best shot at staying. Performance evaluation, they played a role, let's call it a supporting role at best though. Under the new rule, OPM flips that. For any RIF notice issued on or after September 2nd of this year, your three most recent performance appraisals are the primary retention factor within your tenure group. Veterans preference points still get added on top of that. Tenure and length of service become the tiebreaker, not the headline. The other big change, if you get a RIF notice on or after September 2nd and you believe the process was handled improperly, your appeal no longer goes to the MSPB. It's going to go through the OPM's Merit System Accountability Compliance Office. They're the ones that handle it now. MSPB still covers notices issued before that date, and anything already pending stays there. But going forward, that appeal path looks different, and you should know about it where you need it. If your performance ratings are strong, this rule does work in your favor. If they're thin or inconsistent, that's the thing to look out for right now before any notice arrives. Now, the pension question I get most often from federal employees facing a RIF is simple. Do I still get anything? The answer is almost always yes, but what you get and when depends entirely on your age and years of credible service at the time of separation. Path 1 is an immediate retirement. If you're at your MRA, your minimum retirement age, which runs from age 55 to 57, depending on your birth year, with 30 years of service, or if you're 60 with 20 years, or 62 with at least 5 years, you qualify for an immediate FERS annuity. Your pension starts right away. Path 2 is discontinued service retirement, or DSR. This is the path specifically built for involuntary separations, like a RIF. You're at least 50 with 20 years of credible service, or any age with 25 years, the OPM treats this as an immediate annuity, not a deferred one. That distinction matters enormously for your benefits, and I'll come back to it in a second. Path 3 is deferred retirement. If you don't hit either of those thresholds, you can still walk away with your contributions intact and claim a FERS pension later, typically at age 62 with 5 years of service, or earlier if you have more years. You just don't collect anything until you reach that point down the road. There's also MRA plus 10 to know about. If you're at your MRA with at least 10 years, but fewer than 30, you can take the annuity immediately, but it does get reduced 5% for every year that you're under 62. Or you can postpone it, avoid that penalty, and start collecting later. Running the actual numbers on both is worth doing. The break-even math changes a lot depending on your specific age and service combination. What happens to your TSP? Your TSP does not disappear in a RIF. I want to be clear about that because people sometimes confuse it with the pension. They're completely separate. When you separate, you have a few options. You can leave the money in the TSP, you can roll it to a traditional IRA, or take distributions. Most people should not touch it immediately. The question is really, really leave it versus roll it, and it's not as automatic as some financial advisors will tell you. Leaving it in the TSP keeps your expenses extremely low. You also keep access to the G fund, which you cannot replicate in an IRA, and it generally gets more creditor protection than an IRA depending on your state. Rolling to an IRA does give you broader investment choices and more control over how and when you pull that money out. But here's the timing piece that people miss. If you separate from federal service at age 55 or older, in the year of separation, You can access TSP without the 10% early withdrawal penalty. Roll that money into an IRA first, and you lose that exception. Standard IRA rules are going to apply there, meaning that you're back to waiting until age 59 and a half or using a workaround. So if you're in that age window and you might need cash in the next few years, this is worth thinking through very carefully before you roll to an IRA. Health coverage is where I see people make the most expensive mistake during a RIF. So let's be direct about how it works. If you separate on an immediate annuity, whether that's a regular FERS retirement or a discontinued service retirement, a DSR, and you've been continuously enrolled in an FEHB for the 5 years immediately before retirement, you keep the FEHB into retirement. Same coverage, subsidized premiums. That's a benefit worth tens of thousands of dollars over a retirement lifetime, no question about it. And it's one of the biggest reasons the DSR path does matter so much. If you take a deferred retirement, FEHB coverage does not carry forward. You walk away from federal service and the coverage ends. TCC, the temporary continuation of coverage, can bridge that gap for up to 18 months. But remember, you're still paying, you will be paying, I should say, the full premium plus a 2% admin fee. It's not cheap, but it exists, and you know that it's there. Now, FEGLI works similarly. After separation, you get 31 days of free continuation coverage and then conversion rights to an individual policy. If you're retiring on an immediate annuity and then you meet the FEGLI continuation requirements, it can carry into retirement. You have to elect it, and the window does not wait for you. So that's something to be careful of there too. If your agency is offering both a VERA, that's your voluntary early retirement authority, and a RIF with discontinued service retirement as a fallback, it's worth thinking through which one actually works better for your situation, because they're not identical. Both VERA and DSR require age 50 with 20 years of service or any age with 25 years. The basic pension calculation is the same under both. What differs is the environment. VERA is voluntary. You're choosing to leave. DSR happens because the agency is cutting your position involuntarily. For most people, the pension math lands in the same place, but how you frame that separation can matter for certain benefits and for any grievance rights you might want to preserve. On severance pay, this one surprises people. If you are immediately retirement eligible at the time of your RIF, meaning you qualify for an immediate FERS annuity, you are generally not eligible for severance pay. Two don't stack on top of each other. If you're not retirement eligible, severance pay may be on the table, and it's calculated based on your salary and years of service. So know which category that you're actually in. So here's the short version of everything that we've covered here. The new OPM RIF rule puts performance first, starting September 2nd, 2026. Your FERS pension path depends on your exact age and service at separation. Your FERS pension path depends on your exact age and service at separation. Your TSP stays yours. The rollover timing decision has real tax consequences. FEHB continuation lives or dies based on which retirement path you land on, and severance pay and retirement eligibility generally don't coexist. Before any notices arrive, consider pulling your official retirement estimate from HR, checking your exact credible service date, confirming your FEHB enrollment history, and holding off on touching your retirement contribution. You want to run your specific numbers with somebody who works with federal employees. Schedule a consultation with us through the link in the description.